everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Fibre Nerd Podcast. My name is Allison Barnes and I am coming to you today from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, where I live with my husband and my son and my 3 cats, Wicket, Cricket, and Kennedy. Today is Monday, May 7th, and it is summertime outside, you guys. I have been working in the yard lately and just kind of cleaning up from winter, raking the dead grass, the thatch out of the lawn, and sprucing things up a little bit. Haven't done any planting of flowers yet, and my husband still promises to build some planter boxes for me so I can have an above ground garden this year. So if you're new to this podcast, welcome. Thanks for checking me out. And if you are a returning viewer, thanks so much for coming back. This is a knitting podcast, mainly knitting, some crochet, some general life things. I am an indie dyer, and that is my full-time business. My yarn is called Allison Barnes Yarn, and I have a website where I sell it from, and you can also find it in a few different yarn stores in Alberta. And all of that info will be found in either the down bar or on my website at AllisonBarnesYarn.com. Off the top of the podcast, thanks guys for being patient with me. It's been a couple of weeks since my last podcast, and I think that going forward, we are going to do about a 2-week schedule. I just find that I don't have enough to talk about with you if I do it every week, and I don't make enough progress on my knitting projects to feel like I'm offering you guys any kind of new content, something that you guys would like to watch. So I did do a lot of knitting over the last couple of weeks, and I have made quite a bit of progress on my projects. But before we get into that, I have some business to take care of. On the last podcast, I showed this skein of yarn, which I dyed as a sample project in my first yarn dyeing class about hand painting yarn, and I am giving this away to one of the people who entered in my Ravelry group. And I am just going to look up the posts. You can't see it, but I'm in my Ravelry group in the thread for winning this skein of sock yarn. It is a sock yarn. It is not a merino blend. It is a wool nylon blend. And so I'm going to give this to somebody who is going to knit this into a pair of socks rather quickly for me so I can get some feedback on it. I am such a slow knitter that it would take me forever to knit socks on this, and I don't have a really good sock formula that I find fits me very well. So I'm still working on that. But this skein of yarn is going to one of the people who entered, and I have 13 entries in my Ravelry group. So I'm just going to go to a random number generator, and so I entered the numbers from 2 to 13 in a random number generator, and the number that came up is comment number 9, and that is, I don't know if I'm going to say this right, but it's arbutusknits, and I'm just going to click on your name, and I recognize your profile picture from Instagram, but if you are watching this, go ahead and send me a message on Ravelry or on Instagram, because I can't think of your name, but I recognize your profile picture from Instagram. So it's arbutusknits, something like that. Sorry for screwing that up. Yeah, so you're the winner of the sock yarn. Get a hold of me so that I can mail this out to you and you can get knitting. Thank you very much for entering, guys. We'll be sure to do that again sometime. So I just need to keep an eye on the time because I spent the better part of the day doing my errands, some laundry, yard work, and then I was scanning this big box of yarn for shop update this week. And I'll get more into that at the end of the episode when I talk about shop update. Anything else going on right now? Yes, so our Ravelry group is called Allison Barnes Yarnies, and you can join us there. As you see, we just did a yarn giveaway. And we have a knit along happening right now, and that is for the Sun Shower Shawl by INESE, and it uses 2 skeins of fingering weight yarn, or 2 colors of fingering weight yarn. And if you join us in the Ravelry group, this knit along is going until June 3rd. And after that, I will be drawing a winner from the FO thread, which isn't open yet, but will be very soon. It might even be open by the time this podcast hits YouTube. And since we're talking about the knit along, so we have 1 prize lined up so far. It is a cute drawstring bag from the kitchen sink shop, and I'm going to be reaching into my own stash and pulling out some yarn for another prize. They may go to the same person, or I may draw 2 names. I haven't decided yet, but if you would like to donate a prize to this cowl or any of our future cowls, please just get a hold of me, and I would love to have any prizes donated. I think that's awesome, and I would definitely give you a shout out on the podcast. So let's show you my progress on the Sun Shower Shawl. I have finally made it to color 2, and I'm so happy. There it is. So it's curling up a little bit because it is a crescent shaped shawl and it is not blocked. This is the bottom. And I'm using Sea Turtle Fiber Arts in an unnamed colorway on her Ridley sock base. And it is a mainly black base with some blue and purple colors added, and it's gorgeous. And I just recently added my color 2, which is this pale purpley sparkle fingering weight yarn, and that is from Poppy Yarn and Fibre, and it is called Fanciful, and it is on her Argento sock base. So that is Poppy Yarn and Fibre and Sea Turtle Fiber Arts. So I'm just a couple of repeats in to what I'm calling the belly buttons of the shawl. You can see these look kind of like belly buttons. And when I first started knitting it, I found it kind of difficult because of, not because of any of the increases, but because of the knit 5 together. So, but I've got more of a flow now. It's quite wide. It's taking up my whole 40-inch cord, and I'm finding it, each row takes quite a bit of time. So I only knit on this in the evenings, and I only put 1 or 2 rows on in the evenings just because it does take such a long time. So this is not like travel knitting or anything like that. I have to focus and make sure I'm doing it correctly. But I did want to give a little tip. If you're knitting the Sun Shower Shawl and you're on the belly button part, that's what I call it, the belly button part, make sure that you are knitting the knits and purling the pearls. That is my best tip that I can give you. And because I know it's hard to keep track of your stitch count, but if you follow the knits and the pearls on the fronts, on the right and the wrong sides, then everything should line up for you, no problem. And as always, if you have problems or run into some kind of frustration while you're knitting this and you're in my Ravelry group, post in the chatter thread for the Sun Shower Shawl, and INESE will be able to pop in there and answer your questions. So don't feel like you can't ask a question about this shawl. I want you to have a successful knit along with me. So I'm just really, really happy to be on the second color now. And yeah, so June 3rd, you guys, if you haven't started yet and you are a faster knitter than I am, then I don't think you'll have a problem knitting this shawl in the time period. For all of the rules for the knit along, just head to the Ravelry group, Allison Barnes Yarnies, look for the chatter thread. It's got all of the rules listed there for you. There's no yarn rules, it's just knit the pattern, get your FOs posted by June 3rd. And that's it. Pretty simple. Okay, so let's see. I have done the giveaway and I've done the sun shower shawl and I've just zipped my yarn in my bag. Great. Okay, I fixed it. Another project that I started a few weeks ago is a crochet project, and this is my granny stripe crochet granny stripe blanket, and I'm doing kind of a not semi-formal, I'm a very informal crochet along with my friend Ashley of Comfy Cozy Knits, and it's just a like not ravelry, it's just an Instagram tagging thing. Use the hashtag GRANNYSTRIPEALONG so that we can follow your progress on your own granny stripe blanket. And this is mine. I have done quite a few rows on it so far. I haven't even counted how many I've done. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. 24 rows. And not every row is a single color all the way across because I have a lot of scraps that are very tiny. So on some rows I've used 2 or even 3 colors. But I'm just wanting to get the most use out of my hand-dyed fingering weight yarn. So I will have some ends to weave in the middle of the project, as well as the ends on the ends of the project. But for now, I'm not going to weave them in. But this is where I am, and this is where I'll be for a little while because I am waiting for more scraps. I need to finish some projects before I can before I can crochet any more into my blanket, because I've used all my colors once already and I have some left over, like Faded Denim and Whisper, and I got a mini skein from my friend Ashley. We are swapping mini skeins when we have enough leftovers to fit into 2 blankets. So I have some chartreuse to give to her and maybe something else, but I have to weigh it. So if you have any questions about our Granny Stripe Along, please leave a comment below. I will do my best to answer your question. If you are wondering about hook size, how many chains I started with, and that kind of thing, I will try and remember to post a link to the blog where that Ashley and I are following, so that you know how we started our crochet granny stripe blanket. So I feel like I'm rushing along a little bit, but I think that's because I'm afraid that I am going to be late to pick up my son from school, because it is almost that time of the day, and I wasn't really ready to podcast until now anyway, but that's okay. Let's see. I have another work in progress. I do not have any finished objects this week, but I'm just really happy to be making a lot of progress on my current projects, so that's okay, right? Let's see. The next work in progress is my BACKSHORE. It is a pullover sweater, a knit sweater by ALICIA PLUMMER, and I am getting really close. I need to move back for you guys so that you can actually see this. I am getting really close to the bottom patterning. This sweater pattern doesn't have ribbing on the bottom, it has a textured pattern. But I think I'm almost there, and then I'll get to start the sleeves. And you know what? I have only used 2 balls of yarn on this whole thing so far. I'm almost at the end of this yarn, which is by Fibre Arts, and it's called First Day of Spring. And let me see, I have that much left of the first ball of my Fibre Arts. This is a DK weight sweater, so I have 2 balls of DK of this, and 2 balls of DK of this, which is my faded denim color. So you see I have quite a bit more faded denim, but this is like color 2, so that's why I have a little bit more of it. But yeah, it's growing really quickly, and I'm really happy about that because I don't have a sock on the needles right now. This is my take everywhere knitting, so I literally take it everywhere. It's so easy to just pick up and put down. It's just stockinette in the round, so I put my little needle caps on it when I shove it back into my project bag. And my project bag that I'm using is my Yarn Party bag by Andrea's Hand Spuns. And oh, if you guys are in the Edmonton area, you should come out to the Edmonton Fibre Frolic on Saturday, May 26th. Andrea is going to be there selling her Yarn Party bags and other types of bags. She has some gorgeous canvas ones that are similar size, and I really want to get one of those because then I want to put my enamel pins on them. That would be fun. And speaking of the Edmonton Fibre Frolic, I'm going to be there this year. I'm going to have my own booth selling my yarn, and I would really like your input as to what colors you really want to see there. I'm not planning to bring everything because I can't fit everything in the car in one trip. And my booth is a little bit smaller. I took a 6x9 booth instead of a 10x10 because myself and Jessica, who is the owner of Haven Fibre Arts, we are the coordinators, the planners, the organizers of the Edmonton Fibre Frolic, and we wanted to make sure that our vendors had the spots that they wanted before we took our spots. So we both have a slightly smaller booth than I've had before at other markets. So yeah, so based on space constraints, I'm not going to take everything. I'm going to try and take 3 or 4 of each color, but I don't know if I should be taking lots of fingering weight, any worsted weight, DK. I want to know from you guys. And are there specific colors that you want to see at the Edmonton Fibre Frolic? Because I know you all have your favorites, and I do too, and they're not always the same. So tell me what you want to see, and I'll make sure it goes in my bins so that I can bring it with me to the frolic. So mark that on your calendars. It is Saturday, May 26th, and the doors open at 10 a.m. It's a $4 admission at the door, cash admission, and we're trying to make sure we have one of those little handheld debit machines. I'm really hoping that it's going to work for you guys. There's like 43 vendors going to be there, and they all take cash. Many take credit cards, and some take debit tap. But if all else fails, I do believe there is a ATM machine in the convenience store, which is across the street. The venue is called the Terwilliger Community Church, and I'll put the address in the information down below for you. That's in kind of south central-ish Edmonton, on Town Center Boulevard, south of Terwilliger Rec Center. Okay, I'm sure you guys can find it if I put the address. Just Google it and you'll find it. Let me just check the time. All right, I have a few more minutes. I feel like I'm running out of air. What else do I have to tell you guys about? Oh yeah. We had our second dye class, Learn to Dye Yarn class, in my home studio on Saturday evening. And we had 5 chatty, wonderful, fun ladies all dyeing yarn, and it was so much fun and just so engaging that I didn't have time to take any pictures or videos this time. So what I would like to do is insert some pictures of the finished yarn from the class before's group of ladies, and any that I've gotten from this Saturday's class. so you guys can see what they created when they were in my class. One of the ladies who joined us for the dye class this week drove all the way from Athabasca, which was amazing to me. I mean, she's probably used to driving into Edmonton on occasion, but you know, when it takes almost 2 hours to for her to get to where I live, that's commitment, and I'm really happy that she came out to play with colors with us on Saturday night. The next class is going to be on Sunday, June 10th from 2 to 4 p.m. in the afternoon at my house. All the information is available on my website at alisonbarnesyarn.com. To register, you just go there, look up dye classes, or you can even go to dyewool.com. I have the URL dyewool.com, and that'll take you directly to my page for my dye class. You can sign up there. It's $100 plus tax. If you and a friend sign up, then you'll for sure know somebody there. It's a lot of fun, and you get to take home 2 skeins of yarn that you dyed yourself in your dream colors. So that's a lot of fun. I really hope to see you guys there sometime. So I'm going to pause the video now. I need to go grab my son from school, and we might play at the park afterwards because, like I said, it's pretty much summertime outside right now, and who doesn't want to spend all day outside when it's this nice? I know I do. When I get back, I'm going to talk about shop update, and I'll see you guys then. So, since I left you, I picked up my son from school, and we came home, and he had a snack, and we did his spelling words, and then I started getting supper ready, and made the biggest mess. So now that that's taken care of, I can get back to the rest of the podcast. I don't know if I mentioned it in my previous episode or if I hadn't even been doing it at that time, but I recently started back into yoga. I was taking a class at a local yoga studio once a week when I could, and just recently I started doing some Yoga by Adriene videos at home in the mornings. One of the first things that I do before I really get down to work or whatever I have planned for the day. And sorry for the bright light, I don't really want to sit in the dark, but I've really been enjoying my 30 minutes or whatever it is of yoga in the mornings. That time, not only is it time for me, but it's time to kind of switch the brain off of work and worries and listen to my body, and I've really been feeling a lot stronger, and it's really been helping with anxiety, and I just love it. And last week my husband showed an interest in trying yoga because he's been feeling really stiff, his joints and muscles, and he's just not getting enjoyment from, you know, playing with our son because of how his body feels lately. So he started doing yoga with me in the evenings after our son goes to bed. So I'm hoping that he can keep doing that with me. It's something that we get to do together, and it's just a nice relaxing thing to do in the evenings. Stretch it all out, do some static poses, get your muscles working, and then I get to sit down and knit before bed. so it's kind of cool. Anyway, okay, we're going to go on to shop update, and I think we're going to try shop update on Friday this week. Let's do Friday, May 11th, and we're gonna go, what time works for you guys? I'm thinking maybe 5 p.m. Friday, May 11th at 5 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time. Just want to switch it up a little bit. Plus, I have quite a bit of stock going into the shop, so I have a lot of photos to take and edit, and I want to make sure that I have enough time to get that done. And tomorrow is supposed to be another beautiful day outside, and I really don't want to be stuck inside doing photos and editing and that kind of thing. So I thought I could probably do that on the days after, when it's supposed to get cold and rainy. So let's do that. Friday, May 11th, 5 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time. So the first skeins going in the shop are some color play skeins. The color play skeins are yarns that I dye to just have fun in the dye pots with no set formula or no rules, basically. I did a whole bunch of resistance dye yarns after my first dyeing class with all the leftover colors. These are non-repeatable colorways, but there are 3 skeins of each. So when I show them to you, they are, the 3 that I show you are the 3 that will be going into the shop. And they will be called color play, and they will have a number from like 4 to 10 or 11 or something like that. This is the first color going into the shop. There are 3 of these, and all of these are on my basic sock base. If you can see, there are some kind of sagey color, some peachy color, and purple. This one has some fuchsia, some bright orange, and some gray. These have some very subtle tones of pink and purple and a light eggplant color. These are peach and pink and kind of a pale burgundy. Really pretty. These are green and blues and some purple. This is some gray, some teal, and some purpley burgundy kind of tones. And these are gray with a couple different tones of green. I think a lot of these colors would look really great paired with each other. If you were to do some sort of faded project, I think that they would go lovely together. These are 4 of the different colors, and I think they fade really well together. If while you are looking at the colors on my website, you would really like to see what some of them look like next to each other, you can always send me a message on my website. It goes directly to my email, and if I'm available at that moment, then I'll snap a photo and send it to you, and it'll help making your buying decision a little bit easier. I'll be restocking some Prairie Mosaic in the shop this week. I'll have 4 skeins on basic sock. Last week I realized I was out of stock of Handmaiden on basic socks, so there will be 6 skeins going into the shop. I will also be adding some extra skeins of Leaf Pile on basic sock and classic worsted, because those were at low quantities right now. I dyed up a bunch of Frick It's Cold on basic socks, so I think I have about 5 skeins of those going in the shop. And Whisper is going to be back on my classic worsted base. If you need any of this color called I Think We're Alone Now on basic sock, I will have 2 skeins going into this week's shop update. And I dyed up some more silver gray on basic sock because you can always use a good gray neutral in your stash. So that's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. I will come at you again in a couple weeks' time, probably the week before the frolic, but I might wait until after the frolic. We'll see. Thanks again for watching, and have a great day. Bye-bye.